I met him when he came to America to study at Yale. I didn't know him so well then, but I certainly was aware of him, and he probably was aware of me. We were in different programs at Yale and in different years. He came to Yale, now I can't remember what years it was, 61 to 62. That would have been my second year in architecture school, but for him it was a postgraduate year. Different program, master's class. Norman came to Yale along with a number of other English students, and they were kind of the English invasion. It was like the British invasion before the Beatles. Yale did not have so many international students as it does now, and to have this cluster all at once was quite amazing. Rudolph and Scully were, of course, the most important people at Yale on the faculty. Scully was in the art history department, but his lectures were attended by all architecture students at one time or another. Sometimes they would go 1 year and then the next year again, and I'm sure that Norman did sit in and perhaps take even for credit Scully's class. Rudolph was the chairman of the Department of Architecture. He was a very complicated and interesting person. He had a fierce dedication to architecture, and I know that Norman respected that then and now still does, the memory of that. Rudolph would assign a horrendous project to each oncoming master's student for a high school, and he'd give them a program that was about that thick, and he'd give them a week to do it. It was a competition situation, and Norman is a famous competitor, as you know, so I think he probably had that competition urge before coming to Yale, but it was honed and sharpened at Yale. Norman was the great spokesman for his class, but what Rudolph did is he gave the same problem to both groups and pitted them against each other. He liked to pit people against each other. And Norman did this project, a design for an office building in Boston. Norman, I think, thinks that his office building was his best project at Yale. I think I've heard him say that or read it somewhere. I certainly wouldn't disagree. Norman's impact on architecture comes from his time at Yale and his time working for American architecture offices. I think Anshin and Allen did he work for, which was at that time considered a good office. I think Norman would never have been, or it would have taken him much longer to be Norman, the great machine Norman, if he hadn't not only studied at Yale, but also traveled and looked around at American practice. Norman's practice is an American practice, now based in England, but it's an international practice, of course. But it is in the model of Skidmore, Owings and Merrill. Many partners, some of whom have identities of their own, but many of whom only insiders know who they are. So he learned a lot at Yale. And he's been very generous to Yale, I should point that out. He established a chair. He also turned over the prize when I think it was the Commerzbank in Frankfurt. He got a big prize, and he turned that money over to add to the value of the chair, so the chair is extremely well endowed. But the purpose of the chair, Yale has visiting professors who occupy endowed chairs, which is why you could have people from England like Sterling or Sandy Wilson, or people from Japan or whatever coming to teach. And Norman valued that tradition and values it, I think, to this day. And his chair adds to the richness of, it's an aim to bring international architects to Yale. So it's very important. And students are producing designs for buildings. And they are using the computer, but because of our Rome studio and other courses, they are still encouraged to draw by hand. Now, it's very hard to get students off that bloody computer, but conceptually, and I've watched Norman work, he still draws. And that's the key.